As a brain doctor, I'm shocked this nut raises stroke risk overnight. Senior health. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, your head spinning, and your breathing rapid for no clear reason? It's not a nightmare, and it's not just stress. The real cause may lie in something very small you did just a few hours earlier, something you thought was good for you, like eating a handful of nuts before bed. Many people over 60 eat nuts because they've heard they're good for the heart, help lower cholesterol, and support memory. And that's true, but only if you eat the right type, in the right amount, and most importantly, at the right time of day. Eating them at night when your body is preparing to rest can actually have the opposite effect. Those same healthy nuts, when consumed too late, can disrupt circulation, raise nighttime blood pressure, slow down blood flow, and even contribute to blood clot formation while you're fast asleep. Younger people can usually handle these changes, but in older adults where blood vessels are more fragile, circulation is slower, and blood pressure regulation is less adaptive, even small changes can lead to serious consequences. For years, you may have believed you were doing something good for your health without realizing that it was quietly putting extra strain on your heart and brain at the very time they need rest. So if you've been in the habit of eating nuts before bed, now's the time to reconsider. In this video, we'll analyze 6 common types of nuts and why eating them at the wrong time could pose a hidden threat to your heart and your sleep. And we'll begin with a holiday favorite that often shows up in desserts, the pecan. As a brain doctor, I'm shocked this nut raises stroke risk overnight. Senior health. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, your head spinning, and your breathing rapid for no clear reason? It's not a nightmare, and it's not just stress. The real cause may lie in something very small you did just a few hours earlier, something you thought was good for you, like eating a handful of nuts before bed. Many people over 60 eat nuts because they've heard they're good for the heart, help lower cholesterol, and support memory. And that's true, but only if you eat the right type, in the right amount, and most importantly, at the right time of day. Eating them at night, when your body is preparing to rest, can actually have the opposite effect. Those same healthy nuts, when consumed too late, can disrupt circulation, raise nighttime blood pressure, slow down blood flow, and even contribute to blood clot formation while you're fast asleep. Younger people can usually handle these changes, but in older adults, where blood vessels are more fragile, circulation is slower, and blood pressure regulation is less adaptive, even small changes can lead to serious consequences. For years, you may have believed you were doing something good for your health without realizing that it was quietly putting extra strain on your heart and brain at the very time they need rest. So if you've been in the habit of eating nuts before bed, now's the time to reconsider. In this video, we'll analyze 6 common types of nuts and why eating them at the wrong time could pose a hidden threat to your heart and your sleep. And we'll begin with a holiday favorite that often shows up in desserts, the pecan.
Pine nuts, tiny but capable of silently inflaming your blood vessels. Pine nuts are small, creamy, and often found in upscale salads or pesto sauces. With their elegant appearance and dense nutrients, many consider them a smart, healthy snack. But behind that wholesome image is something seniors must pay close attention to: their extremely high omega-6 content. Omega-6 is an essential fatty acid that plays a role in cell function and beneficial inflammatory responses. However, the real issue lies in the balance between omega-6 and omega-3. In modern diets, especially in the US, this balance has shifted dramatically in the wrong direction, and pine nuts only add to that imbalance. When omega-6 becomes dominant, it doesn't just trigger short-term inflammation, it can also sustain chronic inflammation within the blood vessels. This is especially dangerous for older adults, whose arteries are already less elastic and more fragile. A study published in the Journal of Lipid Research found that diets rich in omega-6 fats are linked to increased markers of vascular inflammation, weakened endothelial function, and a higher risk of vessel rupture, particularly in seniors with already compromised arteries. If you regularly consume pine nuts at night, when the body's ability to regulate inflammatory responses is reduced, this low-grade inflammation may quietly accumulate. The solution isn't to cut out pine nuts entirely, but to adjust when you eat them. Have them in the morning or at lunch, and make sure your overall diet includes omega-3 rich foods like flax seeds, salmon, or sardines. When you're over 60, maintaining this fat balance is key to protecting your blood vessels.
Hazelnuts. When excessive vasodilation becomes a risk while you sleep. Hazelnuts are among the most widely used nuts in Western cuisine, from chocolate spreads in pastries to plain dry roasted snacks. They're often promoted as heart-healthy, energy-rich, and less allergenic than other nuts. For many health-conscious adults, hazelnuts make for a light snack that doesn't lead to weight gain. But hidden behind this nutritional benefit is a lesser-known biological factor: their high content of arginine, an amino acid involved in the production of nitric oxide, a compound that dilates blood vessels. During the day, when you're active and circulation needs to be enhanced, this vasodilation can be helpful. It improves blood flow and reduces stress on the heart. However, if this dilation occurs at night, when the body naturally lowers blood pressure and slows circulation, it can lead to vascular instability. In older adults, especially those with fragile arteries or high blood pressure, this may result in sudden drops in blood pressure, nighttime dizziness, or worse, capillary leakage in sensitive organs like the eyes or brain. A clinical review in hypertension research highlighted that in aging individuals with vulnerable vasculature, exposure to strong vasodilators like arginine during rest can trigger microvascular complications, increasing the risk of silent damage to brain capillaries. So if you're in the habit of snacking on hazelnuts in the evening, proceed with caution. A safer and more effective approach is to shift hazelnut consumption to the morning, when nitric oxide can support physical activity and circulation. And if you have a history of high blood pressure, speak with your doctor before making hazelnuts a regular part of your diet. Sometimes a small change in timing can make a big difference in protecting your blood vessels as you age.
Trail mix, a combination of nuts and dried fruits, has long been marketed as the perfect on-the-go snack, especially for those seeking a healthy energy boost. Many older adults enjoy trail mix in the evening while watching TV or reading, believing they're getting fiber, vitamins, and heart-healthy fats. But a closer look at most store-bought trail mixes reveals a less comforting truth. They're often packed with salt, added sugars, and even preservatives. And it's this nighttime mix of salt and sugar that can quietly strain your heart. Salt, more specifically sodium, increases blood volume by retaining water. As blood volume rises, so does the pressure on blood vessel walls, especially when the body is supposed to be in a restful state. Added sugars, particularly those found in dried fruits, worsen the situation by triggering inflammatory responses in the lining of blood vessels. Together, salt and sugar create the perfect environment for blood clots to form, clots that can silently block circulation under the right conditions. A study published in Circulation found that high intake of salt and sugar is linked to stiffer blood vessels and an increased risk of clot formation, especially in older adults. At night, when circulation slows and you remain still for hours, these clots are more likely to form and move. If even one of them reaches the brain or heart, the result could be a silent stroke or heart attack in your sleep. A better solution is to make your own trail mix at home. Use unsalted nuts, unsweetened dried fruits, and avoid candies or sugary chocolate pieces. Most importantly, eat it in the morning or early afternoon when your body is better equipped to process salt and sugar. This small change can help you enjoy trail mix without sacrificing your heart's safety at night.
Salted roasted almonds, the silent enemy of nighttime blood pressure. Almonds have long been a symbol of healthy living. They're rich in protein, fiber, and vitamin E, and are regularly featured in heart-friendly diets. But trouble arises when almonds are roasted with salt, especially if consumed in the evening. Their crunch, savory taste, and light texture make them a popular late-night snack for many seniors. What most people don't realize is that even a small serving can significantly raise nighttime blood pressure, right when the body is supposed to be at rest. Just 1 ounce of salted roasted almonds, about a small handful, can contain 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium. If you mindlessly snack on a few handfuls while watching TV, your sodium intake could quickly exceed the recommended limit for people with cardiovascular risk. In adults over 60, blood vessels are no longer as elastic, and any sodium-induced fluid retention can raise blood volume and pressure on arterial walls. As a result, instead of dropping naturally at night, your blood pressure may stay elevated, forcing the heart to work harder at a time when it should be recovering. A study in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that even if total daily sodium stays within recommended limits, consuming most of it late in the day, especially before bed, can still cause a significant spike in nighttime blood pressure. This is particularly dangerous for older adults taking blood pressure medication, as such fluctuations can reduce the drug's effectiveness, or worse, trigger a cardiovascular event during sleep. The simplest solution is to choose unsalted almonds or dry roast them at home without seasoning. If you enjoy a salty taste, limit it to a very small amount in the morning, when your body can better compensate. Most importantly, avoid making salted almonds your go-to nighttime snack, because your heart needs peace to recover, not another shift of overtime.
Walnuts. Powerful benefits, but the wrong timing can backfire. Among all nuts, walnuts have likely received the most praise in recent years. Medical research consistently highlights their benefits for heart health, lowering bad cholesterol, improving memory, and even preventing neurodegenerative diseases. For older adults, walnuts are often seen as a daily superfood, and that reputation is well-deserved. The problem arises not from the walnut itself, but from when it's eaten, especially when used as an evening snack or right before bed. Walnuts are rich in ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that the body converts into EPA and DHA. This is a major advantage if you consume them in the morning or early afternoon when your metabolism is active and efficient. But at night, when your liver and pancreas begin to slow down, the conversion of complex fats like ALA becomes sluggish. As a result, fats may accumulate in the bloodstream, particularly in the form of triglycerides, one of the leading risk factors for coronary artery disease and poor circulation in older adults. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that in people over 60, eating high-fat nuts at night significantly raised triglyceride levels the following morning, even when daily calorie intake was controlled. In other words, you may be unintentionally overloading your heart by thinking that a few nuts before bed will help you sleep better and stay healthy. The solution isn't to eliminate walnuts altogether. They're too beneficial for that. The key is simply to shift when you eat them. Enjoy them in the morning, paired with whole grains or unsweetened yogurt to maximize their health benefits. And if you've been eating honey-glazed or salted versions of walnuts, stop now. These sweet or salty variations only increase the metabolic burden at night, undermining your efforts to protect your heart and get restful sleep.
Why timing matters, especially for older adults. After reviewing each type of nut, from pecans and pine nuts to almonds and walnuts, you might be asking, if these are all healthy foods, how can simply eating them at night become dangerous? The answer doesn't lie in the nuts themselves, but in how your body, particularly as you age, responds to them at different times of day. When we're young, the human body is highly adaptable. The digestive system, liver, heart, kidneys, and metabolic hormones work nearly around the clock to maintain balance. But after age 60, everything begins to change. The liver slows its function in the evening, blood circulation decreases, the heart rate lowers, and blood pressure naturally drops to prepare the body for deep sleep. The digestive system essentially closes down to allow the organs to recover. That's why even healthy foods, when eaten late in the day, can become a burden on your system. Nuts, though rich in nutrients, still contain fats, minerals, and often sodium. When eaten in the morning or early afternoon, your body has the time and metabolic capacity to process them efficiently. But when consumed at night, especially after 7 p.m., these compounds may linger in the bloodstream, disrupting metabolism, triggering vascular inflammation, fluid retention, elevated blood pressure, or even contributing to plaque buildup if the pattern continues long-term. What's more, many older adults take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or diabetes, drugs that already alter the body's natural rhythms. When combined with nutrients consumed at the wrong time, the risk of adverse interactions increases. That's why understanding your body's circadian rhythm and timing your nutrition accordingly can sometimes matter even more than what you eat. Not every nut needs to be avoided, and not everyone needs to completely cut them out. But if you're over 60, managing blood pressure, have vascular issues, or simply want to live longer and stay healthier, adjusting when you eat nuts is a small step that can have a lasting impact. And the good news is, you can start as early as tomorrow.